Here we go. It is nice bug-free morning, which you're able to get in New England if you decide to wake up at 4 o'clock. But anyways, I recently sat down. I mean, I do this a lot, but I sat down and I wrote down, I broke down my day into what I do and how I'm spending my time. And you look at it and you're like, holy crap, there's so much I want to do, but there's so little time to do. And you see this giant column labeled sleep. And for me, that's 8 to 10 hours a night, depending on when I naturally wake up. I mean, I go to bed super early at 6 p.m. And then if I wake up, when I wake up, if I feel good, then I get up. If I don't feel good, I just go back to sleep. And because I go to bed stupid early, I can do that. And I can not use an alarm clock, which I love. And part of that, part of this whole thing is you look at that column sleep and you're like, that is a lot of my day. That is over 1/3 of my life I'm going to spend sleeping. Is that really worth it? And to that, I've experienced not sleeping much. Back in middle school, that's actually when I first started sleeping well, because before that I was like, oh, 4 or 6 hours a night. Yeah, I can do 4 or 6 hours a night, man. Look at me. I can function off of it. And then my health teacher, cause we had to keep a sleep log for my health class. My health teacher's like, Jason, you're sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night? I'm like, yeah, I'm still to do all this stuff. She's like, that's not good. You should try to sleep more. And then the next year I did wrestling, and I was just so wiped out, so tired. I was sleeping 8, 9, 10 hours a night because I physically needed to. And then I did my health logs and I was writing that down. I went from having the least amount of sleep out of anyone in the whole class to the most. And I was like, holy crap, I feel a lot better. And that's the thing, you don't realize when you're sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night, or even 6 hours a night, you're like, oh yeah, I only need 4 or 6 hours a night. I feel good in the morning. No, you don't. You don't even know what the fuck good feels like. You haven't felt good in years. Because when you actually start getting 8, 9 hours of regular sleep a night, your brain functions. And you realize that's functioning, but it takes a while. It takes a month or two of consistently getting that sleep. Because a lot of people, what happens is they'll be used to getting 4 to 6 hours a night, and then they'll sleep in on the weekends, or they'll go sleep in one day, and they'll sleep 10 hours that one day, and they'll wake up and be like, I feel tired. I don't feel as good as I normally do when I only sleep 4 to 6 hours a night. And it's that means you should sleep a lot more. If you normally sleep 4 to 6 hours and then you sleep 8 hours or 10 hours and you wake up feeling tired, that's your body being like, oh my God, he's letting us sleep in. Let's try making you even more tired so we can sleep even more, because you probably have such a large sleep debt you don't even realize. But anyways, getting back to the point. If I'm going to be sleeping a third of my life, my thought is, well, how do I then, let me switch hands with this. How do I then make my sleep, how do I then make my sleep more vivid? I want to make my dreams similar to waking life, where I'm able to be extremely conscious in them, present in them. I'm able to notice my surroundings. I don't remember it, because oh man, if I'm gonna be sleeping a third of my life anyways, and I'm gonna be sleeping a third of my life because I feel the best in the other 2/3 and I function in the other 2/3. And trust me, a functioning brain is far more efficient than the time you save by sleeping less. The smarter you can make yourself, the better you can get your brain to function, the more efficient and the more stuff you can actually get done. So if you're doing any sort of thing that requires quality of time, you have to sleep. And if you're not doing something that requires quality of time, change your life, man. Change your life so that you're not being able to slide by with poor quality time. Because if you can slide by with poor quality time, it doesn't really motivate you to try to improve it. Anyways, yeah, so how do I make my dreams more vivid? How do I make it like awake at the time? And part of what I've read so far basically states the moment you wake up, I mean, I use voice memos for this, but write down or say everything you remembered about your dreams. And it doesn't have to make sense. Doesn't have to, switch hands one more time. So it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be coherent, or like you don't need to show this to anyone else, but try to remember as much as you possibly can, because this is training your mind to think, dreams are important. I should try to retain this information. Some other advice I have is don't wake up with an alarm clock. An alarm clock will jolt you awake, and it kind of like, it takes your focus out of where you were and what you were doing and brings it onto that sound. And you're like, how do I make that sound turn off? I mean, if you were in deep work doing something and I just like squeezed an air horn right by your ear, you'd be like, what's happening? Like, where am I? You're not gonna be thinking, it's gonna be difficult to remember what you were just thinking. Like, you would have lost your train of thought. So try not to use a sound alarm. A light that turns on is better, or something that vibrates. Like, I have a Whoop band on. That thing vibrates and allows you to wake up without a giant sound. Even though I do find the Whoop, I think the Whoop is still a little too jolting, which is why I don't use it. Besides, I mean, I now set the alarm to be at 6 p.m. to remind me when to go to sleep, instead of to remind me when to wake up, because if I just go to bed at 6, there's no way I'm sleeping past when I should actually get up. So I also put a tiny digital clock on the opposite wall from my bed. So, and I put it on the lowest dim setting so that I can, if I do wake up during the night, I can just glance at it and know what time it is without having to check my phone at all. And that kind of helps me make sure I get up on time, because you sleep in 90-minute cycles. So if you glance at that clock, go back to bed, you're most likely gonna wake up about 90 minutes later, and you'll glance at the clock again and be like, oh, well, this is when I wanted to get up. So then you naturally get up, and that's the best way I found to ever wake up. And let's see, what else? Try to minimize the multitasking you do throughout the day. And what this means is, like, don't have a podcast going while you're doing your work, because what that trains you to do is only retain the past couple seconds of stuff you've heard, or it's training your short-term memory. It's training you to forget what is going on, because you can't hold all that stuff in your head. So you're watching it to give pleasure to the little dancing monkey with its tambourines, being like, entertain me, entertain me, entertain me. And you're like, okay, here's something to put on for the little monkey in my head that's screaming, entertain me. And then while it's watching that, I can try to do this other work. But all you're really doing is distracting yourself and training yourself to forget. When you're constantly binging TV shows or shorts or all this other stuff, you train yourself to forget what you just watched, because your brain can't actually hold on to all the information, especially all the information that's so different. Like, your brain needs a narrative, it needs a story. Like, if you want to sit down and watch a single like TV show for an hour or two, 3, then hell, go do that, man. Like, if you want to do that, go do it. But that's a single storyline, which is very easy for your brain to remember because it's a story. But 3, 4, 5 YouTube videos, 5 YouTube shorts, it's information about different things, and it's not connected via anything, because the algorithm's just recommending you different stuff. So you don't have the story, which makes it a lot more difficult for your brain. So you're training yourself to forget, you're training yourself not to remember. which you'll find you carry over. You get in the habit of not remembering, just not remembering. So one of the best ways I found to help get you started is to also try to not multitask and give all your presence into the task that you're currently doing. And for that, just switch hands again. God, I'm getting arm workout here. For that, like, just be present in what you're doing and try to remember everything about it. Because what you're training yourself to do then is when you're dreaming, you're going to be present in your dream and you're going to try to remember everything about it. So what you do during the day, what you think during the day, carries over to when you're sleeping, because your sleep is, in your dreams, is just like your body and brain trying to make sense of the day and tie together a bunch of stuff. So the one thing I'm also experimenting with is recommended to me to try to, even me, I need to be more present. Like, listen to sounds, remember textures, remember smells. And at least we in our society, and if you're watching this, you're part of the society of modern times, rely extremely heavily on the visual and don't use the tactile, smell, sound, or taste that much. Like, a lot of people eat while doing something on their phone, so they're not actually paying attention to what they're eating. And how often do you pay attention to how the air smells around you, the bugs? I'm not sure if you can hear them in the background of the video, but like, you need to pay attention to all this other stuff if you want to be able to pay attention to this in your dreams. And I want to be able to pay attention to all of this, remember all of this, and basically, I don't know, maximize my dreams or maximize the efficiency of my dreams. I'm like, I at least want to be able to remember everything. And then the last thing I would say is, once I can remember everything, once I can live everything, then I'm going to start practicing more like lucid dreaming. I showed animal. I'm going to practice more lucid dreaming, which will allow me to be able to control stuff inside of my dreams, make decisions inside my dreams. And I'm not sure how far I can take that, but I'll be documenting that as well. So stay tuned.